That was a bad one. That was a bad rendition of shipping up to Boston. Although y'all probably didn't hear it because Zoom rarely ever picks that up. Which a lot of you are probably saying, why are you recording on Zoom? To which I respond, nope, that is a good question. It's the thing that I've been most comfortable recording with because I've been used to recording it for I've been used to recording myself on Zoom for other purposes, and honestly, I have no idea any other camera recording software that'll help me to that'll let me do this is any better. If you have any good suggestions for me, please let me know. Please let me know. Hey, case Bruins fans! It is not that, yeah! That was a bad throw. But you know what that also is a 4-1 victory over the New York Islanders. Welcome back to Into the Den. I'm your host, 100 Becks. This game, despite the fact that Barry Trotz is not coaching at this current moment, I really felt like this was a Bruins game against the Islanders in which Barry Trotz was coaching. In that it is a very defensive-minded team that can't generate much offense if it doesn't have any sort of defensive miscues to capitalize off of. You're probably saying, Bex, that's a stupid criticism that you're acting like every team can do that. Can score goals just all willy-nilly. I'm not saying that the best teams can score all willy-nilly. This isn't like the 80s where that just happened. Best teams in the league do not necessarily need defensive breakdowns on the other team to be able to generate their own offense. And that's the major difference between the two teams that played tonight. The Bruins were able to generate their own offense. The Islanders were not. But let's get this bet. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about a few of the headlines going into this one. First of all, Joonas Koppanen is back in the lineup. Turns out he was not sent back down to Providence. He was simply just our 13th forward, which makes sense. But he is in for Tomas Nosek. I think that Koppanen had a decent game. I think that he was pushing himself every single shift. He wasn't. He couldn't really generate insane amounts of offense. I mean, he was on the fourth line. It's not like I expect him to be like the next freaking Patrick Laine out there. But I mean, for what it's worth, Koppanen seems to be a decent member of the bottom six. Fifth on the top line, however, is an experiment that needs to end. I know that there was a time when Marchand Bergeron Smith used to work. It was called probably sometime late in the bubble season. I mean, do you guys remember last season when Cassidy finally realized, okay, the perfection line doesn't really work anymore. We're gonna try and mix it up, and then he put Smith on the top line, and the Bruins had honestly a pretty mediocre skid from like mid November to late December, ending by the way with a game against the Islanders on December 31st, not December 31st, December 21st, I think, that where the Bruins single-handedly, by only scoring one goal in 42 shots, it's single-handedly brought Semyon Varlamov, the guy who actually goalied tonight for the Islanders, single-handedly brought him up from an 884 to a 900 save percentage on the entire season. And speaking of stuff that happened last season, we'll wait a little bit on that it because I'm still talking about the Smith thing. But yeah, the experiment with Smith on the top line just doesn't work. I know that DeBrusk's out, so you want someone who has speed on that top line, and we don't necessarily want to trot out the perfection line again because for a few reasons. One, it doesn't work, and two, it's good to have Pasa on the second line to have at least some sort of depth. But why? But tell me, Monty, with how he is playing this season, what exactly would be the issue with putting Trent Frederick on that top line? This isn't to say anything bad about Taylor Hall or Charlie Coyle or Nick Foligno or Pavel Zacha, but I feel like you put Frederick on the top line with two of the best players on the entire team, and I mean he scored his 10th goal tonight and tied his career best in points 43 games into the season, but he's still but you put him on that top line and I feel like he's going to break out even more. Sorry, 44 games into the season. But the thing that happened last year that I had alluded to. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the Bruins raising Willie O'Ree's number into the rafters of TD Garden and to retire his number. And if you remember what happened last year today, hoo boy, that was awful. If you don't know what happened a year ago today, after the Bruins raised Willie O'Ree's number into the rafters, Tuukka Rask made his first start as a Bruin for that during that season. One of only like 4 starts he would make all season, and the Bruins lost 7-1 on home ice to the Carolina Hurricanes. Good thing that didn't happen tonight. Instead, we got another good. We got a goalie who's reliable for this. Who's reliable now? All right now, Linus Ullmark this season has going into this game had gone 9-0-0, a perfect record against the Metro Division, and he continued it tonight. But let's get into it. First period, puck drops, and not long afterwards, Pastrnak goes for cross-checking, and so we get the best penalty kill in the entire league versus the 27th best power play in the league. You see what I'm talking about with this feeling like a Barry Trotz team where the Islanders don't really have a great power play, but they also have the 6th best penalty kill. Well, and it definitely feels like they're more of a defensively minded team and can't generate their own offense. Anyway, Bruins easily kill it. They ended up going. Bruins ended up going 6 for 6 on penalty kill tonight. Although to be fair, one of those penalties came within the last 2 minutes, so I'm gonna count that as they went 5.5 or 5.5 on penalty kills. Pastrnak on a clearing attempt mishandles the puck. It goes off of the skate and right onto Jean-Gabriel Pageau's stick, and Ullmark saves the bomb. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that Pageau didn't score. Well, that may have to deal with the fact that he usually scores against the Bruins at least once a night, but at the same time, but I feel like he also had a few pretty decent opportunities, and this was definitely one of them. Anyway, in the middle of the play, I forget when this happened. I honestly forget when this happened, and I couldn't really go back because on hockey, it doesn't really allow you to go back at all. The only reason why I was using on hockey and not NHL66.ir is because for some reason they couldn't play it on NHL66. But what happens is in the middle of play, Derek Forbort's skate blade ends up breaking, and so he's on his hands and knees is trying to like Velma trying to find her glasses is hoping for someone to help. And unlike that new Velma show, there are people that actually like Derek Forbort and want to help him out. You guys, I don't think you know just how awful that new Velma show is. It is awful. Some McAvoy sees his teammate down without escape blade. So what does he do? Since this is like right on the blue line in across from where the Bruins doors are, he pretty much just shoves Forbort across the ice. It's like and right to the door. Look, despite the fact that I'm from Massachusetts, I barely ever skate, but I could not imagine setting foot on ice with no skate blade, or at least a skate without a blade, because that just feels like so good on McAvoy for understanding the severity of the situation and helping a teammate out in a hilariously adorable way. Anyway, remember that time where I said that I thought that JG Pajot was going to have at least one goal tonight? Well, he didn't, but he still got an assist on in this one, and getting a clean entry, circling back and finding a wide open Zach Parise, because the entire Bruins defense just plays way too deep in their own end, and Parise is wide open, and he snipes it past Grzelcyk and Allmark. I think that's one that you'd want to have back, but at the same time, I'm not blaming Allmark. That is just the entire defense's fault for allowing him to be that wide open. And Islanders take a 1-0 lead before intermission. But the Bruins throughout for the last part, the second half of the first period and a good chunk of the second period, it just feels like they are not getting the puck on net at all. Like I remember, I think they were leading in shots at some point, like really early on in the first period, and then the Islanders overtook them, and they didn't get back to even shot count until like 3 minutes left in the game. But hockey games aren't really won by how many shots you take; it's how many shots go in. And this first goal is when the Bruins start to play like their like their normal selves. The third line, absolute puck fiends. They're going deep into Islanders territory, trying to sniff this puck out, and dig it up and dump it out back for Grzelcyk to pick it up. Grzelcyk passes to a wide open Charlie McAvoy, pretty much the exact same shot that Zach Parise got, except it's a lateral pass instead of a vertical pass. And it's a 1-1 game. It's also the first time that McAvoy scored since November 21st. And would you believe me if I told you that the Bruins almost got that same goal, almost got the exact same goal that Parise got another time? Because the Islanders go for a really bad line change. The Bruins are able to capitalize pretty well on it, with Pasta going deep into the. Actually, no, it's not. It's not really the same as Parise's goal, but still. Pasta goes deep in, and he doubles back to back check it to Zacha, who has a wide open shot lane. He snipes the crossbar. It goes right down, and thank God Derek Forbort's in there. Thank God Derek Forbort's in there. Because when push comes to shove, Forbort's gonna give it up. and that puts the Bruins up 2-1. The only two goals to come from the Bruins during the first two periods are from defense. And speaking of defense, oh my God, the Bruins have 17 blocked shots compared to the Islanders 4. And all is well and good until the other Sebastian Aho, the defenseman Sebastian Aho, on the Islanders, not the forward on the Hurricanes. And the other Sebastian Aho goes for tripping. It goes for tripping, and this is one of the worst parts of the game. Marchand winds up for a shot almost immediately off the faceoff. It deflects. I forget off of who, but deflects off a defenseman, and it goes right into Bergeron's face. He tumbles to the ground. The trainers on the ice they're getting him. They're helping him off the ice. He's going down the tunnel. We all think that this is the last we see of Bergeron for the night. But you know the saying. The show goes on. And who boy does the show go on? Zach Parise ends up losing his stick on this penalty kill, so it's essentially a 5 on 3.5 because it's hard to play defense without a stick. And you know how Marchand usually does the cross ice pass to Pastrnak for that goal. Yeah, they decided to go the other way around. Pasta with the cross ice pass to Marchand, and for him to one time it in, and puts the Bruins up 3-1. And then we get a first for our up and coming guy Juna Kapanen, and he goes for tripping for what I'm pretty sure is his first ever penalty as in the NHL. Welcome to the show, kid. Here's 2 minutes in the box. And we do get good news on this penalty kill. Bergeron is back on the bench. That's our rough and tumble French Canadian and badass right there. He's killed a penalty in the last 5 minutes. It's the 11, 12, 13 line is back on in the ice of Frederick Smith and Coyle. Coyle is in the corner. Coyle and Smith are in the corners trying to sniff out this puck. Coyle takes it. Frederick is slipping to try and get into position, and Coyle still centers it. But Frederick, oh my God, Frederick manages to get up and still manage to tap it in from the low slot to put the game away. And this also serves as a double victory, as a double celebration, because it is Linus Ullmark's 100th win as a goalie. God, I love him. Closing thoughts. I think even though this game was definitely one that was defensively minded first. I mean, half the Bruins' goals came from the freaking defense. I think that the Bruins did a pretty decent. Actually, no. I think that I want to walk that back. This was definitely a very defensively minded game. Even though the Bruins definitely were the ones to outplay the Islanders on offense, it definitely felt like the Islanders' defense was giving the Bruins enough troubles to where they were having a hard enough time in getting their own opportunities. But that honestly just makes it a little bit sweeter because then it doesn't feel like it's okay, we just get someone to walk in and and just clap their cheeks. It's a whole team effort there. But this also makes the Bruins, the 2022-2023 Bruins, the second fastest team to 35 wins in NHL history. The only team to make it to 35 wins faster than these Bruins, who did it in 44 games, are the 1929-1930 Bruins, who did it in 40. Which is literally just a stat to make the old head say. Look here, Sonny, your fancy McDavids and your Pasternaks are cool and all, but would they have succeeded in the 30s? Everybody's starving and have to eat rats on the sidewalk because the economy's is in the tank. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot I had the gimmick for Frederick Gold. Oh, so here it is. Here's the Freddy glove. Sweet dreams, Islanders fans. But yeah, I think that's gonna cover it for tonight. Tomorrow is the second half of the New York back-to-back. This time again, where we take on the Rangers. Thank you all so much for watching. Like button, subscribe button, most recent video, twitch.tv, and Tampa Bay Thrives. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Now let's turn off this pesky lights.